taking care of people. That's nursing. That's anything in life. I'm part of B&I, and one of my, we do 60 seconds every week. One of my favorite reasons, and I don't want to do the same thing. I don't want to repeat myself constantly, because if you've heard it one time, chances are you remember it and you don't want to hear it again. I mean, anyway, one of my things was, whenever you were a kid, someone made you a sandwich. It might have been your mom, your dad, your aunt, uncle, a caregiver. Someone made you a sandwich that was so good, and whenever you made the same exact thing, it didn't taste the same. Doesn't matter, you used the same bread, the same meat, the same cheese, condiments. It didn't taste as good. Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because when they made it for you, they love you, and they put love into it, and that's what it is. You can taste the love. And I love taking care of people, letting them just enjoy something. And if it's not good and they're not going to enjoy it, I don't want to make it.
Yeah.
And that's where the passion comes from.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Good afternoon, Savannah, and welcome to the Savannah Business Showcase. I'm your host, Taraz, and I'm here this afternoon with Mr. Jonny Womack, the owner of Big Boy Cookies out here in Statesboro. And I am impressed with his setup. Like, he's got great food, great cookies. It smells amazing in here. So I'm excited to try some. But first, the way I like to start the show, before I let you introduce yourself, is with a scenario. So here we go. You're walking through your neighborhood. A little kid comes up to you and says, it's probably your cousin. But a little kid comes up to you and says, Johnny, you're my hero. I want to be like you when I grow up. So in the language that a 10 or 12-year-old can understand, what does it take to be Jonny Womack?
Oh, gosh, I don't even know what I would tell them. I'd just be like, well, thank you. And then that would be it. But like if they wanted to do what I do, it's funny that you say that, because I had a girl come in to shadow me earlier this week.
Okay.
She was in 7th grade. She's 13 or 14.
Nice.
And I was just telling her, I was asking her kind of the similar stuff. Now, obviously, I don't think I'm her hero or anything. But I took her in the back and showed her what we do. Mm-hmm. And, we've got 20-quart Hobart mixers. And I told her, but I started with a 5-quart KitchenAid. I probably cranked out 10,000 cookies out of that poor little mixer, and it shows. Yeah. That thing is wobbly, but it's just being passionate about something that you absolutely love. And what I love is making a cookie that whenever someone takes a bite of it, it's going to make them say, oh my God, this is really good. Or it's going to take them back in time to whenever they were a child and they were like, oh, this is what this should taste like, and it's hard to tell someone like, well, go to school and learn how to be a pastry chef. I didn't.
Yeah.
So the way that I've came about doing it is different. It's completely different. So to tell a child, don't worry about school, is irresponsible.
Yeah.
Because you need to have a vast knowledge of, well, not a vast, it's good to know a lot. It's good to know a little about a lot of things, because that will take you farther in life than knowing everything about one thing, which is controversial, or not. It's contradictory, because we're a cookie shop.
Right.
So,
right.
But with a cookie, I can do anything else. I can make other things into cookies. You see what I'm saying? Like we've made banana pudding into a cookie. We've made peach cobbler into a cookie. We took Watergate salad, made that into a cookie, which all those are kind of like puddings and cobblers and stuff like that. So it's, if you can get the similar flavor profile, you just want to evoke an emotion. And in one of the other interviews I did, I was saying that people will fight over banana pudding and they will argue that hot banana pudding is better than cold banana pudding. And people get into different toppings and, oh, well, this better be like this. Some people like the soggy vanilla wafers in the bottom. Some people like the crispy.
Right.
I like both.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll eat them both too.
I like to pick up the crispy ones and scoop up the pudding and eat it with that. But one of my grandmothers used to make it with meringue because it was baked.
Gotcha.
And she made her own meringue, and it was really good. People don't really make meringue that much anymore. Not the people that I know, because it's more work, it's more effort.
Yeah.
But being taught by someone that's in their 70s, you're going to learn a different style of baking than being taught by someone that's in their 20s or 30s. Because she was born in 1913, 1912, went through the Great Depression and all that stuff, and she used to just tell me that, like, they used to cook, her and one of her cousins or one of her family members, they would cook hoe cake, which is basically a giant biscuit.
Yeah, I've heard of it, yeah.
And anyway, just taking care of other people, I guess, would be the bottom line. I get so off track talking and stuff. Like, I start chasing rabbits. I'm terrible at this, but I really enjoy serving people something.
Yeah.
And if I was talking to a kid, let me circle back.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're good.
If I was going to tell a kid, if you want to do what I do, you just have to be willing to work hard and put forth your best. If it's not as good as you want it to be, then don't serve it. Because I am probably one of my harshest critics, and other people can tell me that something's good, but if I don't feel in my heart that this is a good cookie, then I can't do it. I mean, it's integrity is what it boils down to. I can make our cookies a lot cheaper. It's not going to be the same quality because you get what you pay for, and I believe that. You don't want to spend $100 for a new phone, but if you do spend sometimes I revert back to whenever I first got my phone, my first phone, I should say, back in 2001, 2. You could get a phone for about $150.
Yeah.
Top of the line, Nokia.
True. I miss those.
You could completely customize it and all that stuff.
The battery life was crazy.
Yeah.
It lasted days.
But now, I mean, you get a new iPhone or something, it's almost $1,000. So you get the quality. You've got an awesome camera. You can do almost anything with that handheld device that you used to have an entire room full of computers to do.
True.
Or a room-sized mainframe. I don't know why I'm talking about that.
You're good, man. But you made a great point earlier about how I wanted to come back to this. You made a lot of great points really quick, but I can't touch on all of them. But about how the aroma like takes you back. You know, like the cookie takes you back to a time in your past, and like even now there's a girl I had a crush on when I was a kid, and if I still smell that perfume, her perfume on a lady now, I'll just walk by, I'll turn around and look, and I want to ask her what it is so I could give it to my wife.
Is it vanilla?
But I just never have. Say what?
Is it vanilla?
It might
Some
be,
sort of vanilla lotion?
It might be.
Or Bath and Body Works.
Oh man, yeah.
That was the thing back in the day, man. That was before Axe and all that stuff, which girls don't use Axe, but yeah, I remember cucumber lime. Cucumber melon.
Cucumber melon was
I like that smell. Some people hated it.
Yeah,
but it smelled fresh to me.
All right, so Johnny, big boy.
Yep.
Tell us about who you are and how you got started here and where you're from. All the juicy details.
So back when I was first born, I'm just kidding. I was born in Florida, in Central Florida, and I grew up in Winter Garden, very small town. Which it's huge now. It's like I went down there a couple years ago, and you can't even tell it's the same place. But I lived there until I was about 15, and then I moved to Claremont, and I lived there until I graduated from high school. I moved to Georgia in 2004. I was 19 years old. My dad bought a Chrysler dealership in Claxton.
Nice. And
I had worked for my dad, and my brother always worked with my dad. And I worked for my dad a lot growing up. But we didn't always. I was kind of lazy. I tried not to be, but you can't fight the beast. But I quit as many times as I was fired.
Okay.
And one of the best quitting stories. I didn't quit, but I was fired. But I was cutting the grass, and he had this old junk lawnmower that they had stick welded the handles on. And it was a push mower. Well, there was a ditch in the front of the dealership that was 4 foot deep, and it was just straight up on the sides. There wasn't no angle.
Okay.
It was just straight up. So you had to hold the mower and really crank on those handles. Well, I broke one side. It just broke off because it was about a 4-inch band of just stick welded metal down there.
Okay.
Garbage. Anyway, so I was like, nope, I'm going to keep cutting. So I kept on with the other side, and it broke off. So I laid it down. It looked like one of the new self-driving grass cutters now, the Roomba for your yard.
I've seen those,
Yeah, so I went up there, and my dad was in there working, and I was like, hey, the handles broke off the lawnmower. I said, what do you want to do? He said, look, if you don't want to work, just go home. And I said, the handles broke off the lawnmower. He said, if you don't want to work, go home. And I said, okay. I went home.
Yeah.
And he called me 20 minutes later. He said, where are you at? I said, you told me if I didn't want to work, go home. So I didn't want to work. He said, all right, don't come in anymore. I said, okay. But anyway, fast forward, we moved up here. I've done construction. I've hung sheetrock. I was never a good finisher. I was too heavy-handed. But I hung sheetrock. I've sanded it, and I've done painting and stuff like that. I really I like construction. I like building things and just seeing it sort of take shape. From that, I went to work at the dealership. I started out in sales. I sold cars for about 6 months, and our parts manager was going to leave. So I became the parts manager with about a week's worth of training, which wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't super difficult, and I had help from other people that were working there. But then our service manager quit, and my brother became service manager because he was in the office. And then at one time, he left to go to training for 2 months. So I was parts and service manager, which we had hired another. We had a parts director. I told him he could be the director. I wanted to have the manager title. I said, that looks better. Anyway, I wasn't the manager, but it was a lot of fun. But I learned how to delegate tasks and how to kind of see where people shine, where they were, and how to. It's not manipulation because you're just making them work better. And it was really more or less, hey, I need you to do this, and I need it done in this amount of time. And they would do it, and it was always good. We always worked well together, me and the technicians, because I respect people that can work on cars and stuff, because that ain't easy. No, it's hot and brutal. Shade tree mechanics, I mean, my hat's off to them because they're out there doing it with 2x4s and drive on things that your car could roll off.
Yeah,
but
that's how I do it, unfortunately.
I mean, people that can work on stuff, I've never been able. I changed the spark plugs in this old Blazer I had. I had a full-size 1990 Blazer. It took me 5 hours to change the spark plugs.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I'm awkward in the engine bay. I never can get the right position. My leg will go to sleep, or I get a pinched nerve or something. It's not a good thing. And plus, I always snapped off bolts and stuff because I am a little
heavy-headed
a little on the strong side.
Okay. So how'd you get from all that to cookies?
All right. So, I became a nurse.
Okay.
Started going to LPN school in 2007, 2008, somewhere along in there. Anyway, first time through, I failed. And my third quarter, we were on the quarter system, so you had 10 weeks to learn about 50 chapters. And you had 50 chapters in one subject, 30 chapters in one subject, and I think it was another 40 in one. but you only had 5 weeks to learn that because the other 5 you went to clinicals.
Gotcha.
And it's tough. Nursing is not easy. And I enjoyed it. It was a challenge. And for someone, I hated school. Like, I despised getting up and going to school whenever I was in middle school, high school, all that. I did not like it. I mean, I liked it once I got there. It was fine just to, fool around with your friends and stuff. But as far as sitting there and learning, I never opened a book.
Yeah.
I didn't study. I would remember what the teacher would say in class. So I have a pretty good memory. Yeah. But anyway.
And same here. Yeah. I made it to college on like an academic poor scholarship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it was just because I was just able to listen to class and pick up on context clues. It wasn't really hard work in high school, and that hurt me when I got to college. I almost failed out.
Core classes they weren't that hard. I mean, so math for me is whenever if I went right now to Southern and tested, they would probably put me in remedial math. But whenever I got in there, I get an A because I would sleep through my math classes. And I remember I was going to the tech school over here. I went in Toombs County. The girl sitting next to me, she woke me up. She's like, "Hey, he's giving us a pop quiz." And I woke up, look at the board. It took me like 20 seconds. I wrote the answer down and laid my head back down. She said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "That's the answer." She's like, "How did you do that?" And so I showed her how to work it out.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my God." And I think the problem that they have sometimes with college math classes, especially like if they're in there like for a pre-algebra or before college algebra, you have to take, it's like 097 or 099, something like that. But anyway, those professors are doctors in math. They have their doctorate in math.
Right.
So they're teaching it like you're a doctorate in math. Like they're explaining things in a concept that it's beyond what the person in there can grasp.
Right.
And so I always ended up having to teach myself. So I would just read the book and I could learn how to do it. But anyway, God, I became a nurse. I met my wife.
Yeah.
Well, I knew my wife. She lived in Toombs County, and her dad and one of my first cousins were best friends growing up.
Okay.
He's older, but it was my cousin Mike. He's a nurse practitioner now. He went from construction to an LPN, got his RN. Now he's a nurse practitioner. He was one of my best friends, and he kind of influenced me like, there's 3 things in life that are always certain. Taxes, you always need real estate, and people are always going to get sick. Well, they're always going to die too, but people don't like that kind of talk. But he worked in a mortuary. He did a lot of different stuff too. But like that, it just, in my mind, this was 2008 when the economy was starting to crash.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, I need something, Car sale, you can't sell a car when nobody's making any money or their credit's just shot.
Right.
So I was like, I want something with job security. And that's nurse. Baby boomers are getting older, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I got my nursing degree. I took care of my grandmother whenever she was in hospice, right as I was graduating. She got really sick. So I took care of her for a while with help from the rest of my family. We all kind of took shifts, and I tried to stay with her as much as I could because I knew how things need to be given. I knew how to read all the prescriptions and stuff, and I had her on a schedule. Like I hated doing care plans, which is basically something that you have to do for all of your patients. So if they're at a risk for fall, you have to write procedures and stuff for that. If they need to be on a turning schedule because they can't you can't leave someone in one position all day because they get bed sores and stuff like that, and it can progress extremely fast. Anyway, I became a nurse, and then I became a drug rep, and then I started Big Boy Cookies.
Okay.
Boom. I just skipped over like 3 years since I spent 20 minutes on 1 year.
Right. And that's good. That's what I wanted. Okay.
Sorry.
And for people out there, you can check out one of his videos on his website, and it kind of goes over like how he went from being a nurse and the nurses at your hospital.
No, it was whenever I became a drug. I did make cookies for some of the nurses I worked with, but whenever I became a drug rep, I would go out to do lunches, and it would be like $50 or $60 for a dessert, and I was like, man, I can make something just as good as this, and doing that, it gives a personal touch to that account.
Exactly.
Whenever you're an account manager and you're building a relationship, and to show someone that you care about them, you want to show that you care, because you're going to take your personal time. You're not getting paid to make cookies, or I wasn't then, but I just wanted to make something special.
Yeah.
Because that account, if they were really good to me, I wanted to tell them, hey, I really appreciate you guys. Here's some cookies. But we had to start Big Boy Cookies then. We actually started in like 2013.
Okay.
Because if I took you a plate of saran wrap cookies, or I took you a box of cookies with a stamped or sticker, nice looking box, like a bakery box, which one are you more likely to go to?
The one with the box.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, because, there's nothing wrong with saran wrapped foods and stuff to give to people. It doesn't look professional. It looks homemade, which I wanted it to be homemade, but I didn't want it to look homemade.
Yeah.
So me and my wife talked about it, and I kind of told her, we played with a few different ideas. Like this, it was almost bearded baker, but that was already a thing. And I wanted to take something. I was reading a book or something. I don't even remember what it was. And I think it might have been, I was going to say it might have been Crush It, the Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
That was one of his first books that he wrote. But I wanted to take something that caused me pain, that I didn't like. Because I've always been big. My brother is 4.5 years older than me. I was always big boy. He was ruthless whenever it came to nicknames and stuff, because he had always been real athletic.
Yeah.
He's a little bit taller than me now, but whenever we were growing up, we had about a 6-inch height difference. He was taller, but I always had him on weight.
Gotcha.
Not by choice. I was just lazy as hell. But he anyway, lots of nicknames, and I was like, he just, big boy always stuck. Come on, big boy, get your tail out here. Come on, let's go do something.
Gotcha.
And it didn't hurt my feelings as I got older, but like whenever I was a kid, nobody likes being called fat, and I don't know, it was just one of those things. I wanted to take something that at one time caused me pain and turn it into a positive. And I was like, Big Boy Cookies. These are my cookies that I'm going to make. And people, whenever they see Big Boy Cookies, they think our cookies are like dinner plates.
Yeah.
They want them to be huge. But you lose a lot of flavor and textures and stuff whenever you make them big. I make a 12-inch cookie. I make an 8-inch cookie. I would prefer to have a smaller cookie.
Yeah.
And the thing is, whenever we first started, we used to play with like our catchphrase that we wanted it to be. And I was like, they're not big on size, but they're big on flavor. I want people to really get hit with a flavor whenever, like if I say it's got something in it, I want them to taste it. But some people don't understand, like whenever you do a recipe, like salted caramel brownie, what do you think you're going to get the main thing of?
That's salted caramel.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that you should get right off the bat. And that's kind of how I've tried to develop flavors and the names of stuff. Like we do Pistachio Paradise now. It used to be Watergate Salad. We changed the name because no one knows what pistachio or what Watergate Salad is. It's a thing from like the 70s. Has nothing to do with Nixon. But it was a congealed salad that was pistachio, coconut, pecan, pineapple, marshmallow, all this stuff thrown into a bowl. It's the green salad, like congealed salad that you would have at a family function that somebody would make, and half the people wouldn't eat because it was green and weird. I love it. It is so good. It's stupid good to me. But you've got different stuff like that. Ambrosia, Waldorf salad, all those are kind of in like the same category. Ambrosia's the pink looking stuff that has the mandarin oranges in it. And then Waldorf salads, apples, walnuts, and like mayonnaise and stuff like that. But anyway, I have no idea what question you asked me.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. We're here.
Okay.
Okay. So next then, so you mentioned Gary Vee. Are you like a strong reader? Like you just consume a bunch of like entrepreneurial stuff? Or?
It was audiobooks.
Okay. Well,
Hey,
that's me. Yeah. That's the best way for me.
So for me, one of the best things, well, whenever I was doing it by myself, it was awesome. But now that I have people here, I don't get to do it as much. But I used to put in headphones or put a speaker right next to me, and I would play an audiobook. I would watch Netflix because it was basically just me. I was in the zone, and I would make cookies for 18 hours. And because we got the food truck in February of 2016, we started doing events in that March. But whenever the selling window is open, you have windows. But if it's not, it's a box. So I would go out there. I wouldn't know what time it was. I didn't look at the clock either. If you're working and you don't check the clock, you're having fun.
Yeah.
Or you're just really working.
Yeah.
I would check the clock whenever my legs started really throbbing. And I had been out there for 12, 15, 18 hours. But I would do it 2 days a week, and I could make about, I think the most I did in one day by myself was like 12 batches. And I get about 150 to 220 cookies out of a batch.
Man, wow.
And that's making it, scooping it, and setting it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Those were long days.
Yeah, I bet, yes.
But I like doing it, and if you can put your best product out there, and you watching people's faces whenever someone new comes on the truck, I said you watch their face. I said, and if they don't know if they want to try something, say, hey, you can try a sample, because we do samples of all of our cookies. We do, and in the shop we bake 6 flavors a day, and people can sample any of them. Because you work hard for your money, I work hard for mine, and I don't want anybody to waste a dime on one of my cookies if they don't like it.
Right.
And I don't want to say like, well, I'll give you a personal guarantee, because I can't guarantee that you'll like the flavor. True. But you can try it. Yeah. You can, and that's why we do that. And I just want people to be happy when they buy our product. I don't want them to feel like, well, man, those cookies we got, they were all right, and I just wish I hadn't spent that money. Don't spend it. Try it. If you like it, I'm happy for you, and I'm glad you enjoy it. But if you don't like it, it's no skin off my back if someone doesn't like it. Yeah. Because most people do, like it, because you're not going to please everyone.
No, but I'm sure the majority of people do love it because it's just cookies.
Yeah, I mean,
great cookies.
Right, and some people were like, what do you mean you're going to do cookies? And I was like, I'm going to bake cookies. You're going to do that for a job? Yes. I'm going to try it. And the reason that we really got the push to do it, I was going back to school to get my RN, and I had 3 office managers call me. This was like the turning point for doing a cookie shop or not. We had 3 office managers call. They each ordered 25 to 45 cookies, dozen, 45, like 25 to 35 dozen cookies each. And without even blinking, I was like, yeah, I can do that. I had no idea how I was going to do it. And then I had like a mini panic attack inside, but my sales side too, oh yeah, I got you when you want them. When you want them. And I was like, it'll take me a couple days, but I can get them to you. Yeah. And I did it. I made it happen, but I worked like 20 to 22 hours a day because I was doing that at home. And a conventional oven, typically what people have at home is a conventional oven. It's not a convection oven. A convection oven moves air around, and you can bake things faster and at a lower temp if you want. That's what I do now, but I baked on stoneware back then, and if anyone likes baking at home and they want to do cookies, stoneware is your best friend because I like a cookie that has a crispy outside with a soft center. And with stoneware, you can pull it out just as your cookies start to brown, set it out on a trivet or whatever, oven mitt, something, and let that stone finish baking it.
Yeah.
And it's perfect every time. And that was one of the things whenever we first started. I always baked on stone. And whenever we decided to do the food truck, or let me finish the Christmas thing. That was at Christmas whenever all that stuff happened with the like 90 dozen cookies. Luckily, they didn't all want them on the same day, because if I wanted to bake 12 dozen cookies, I was going to be in the kitchen for about 6 hours.
Yeah.
Because I could usually turn out about 4 dozen an hour.
Okay.
On average. Because I tried 2 pans at one time and then rotating them. It doesn't work because you lose so much heat whenever you leave the oven open that long. I suggest turning the cookies halfway through baking on a stoneware. Now that we've got this bigger oven, we bake them the majority of the time, then we turn them and let them finish off in the other direction. But yeah, those were long days.
Yeah.
And we only made, I think I made 3 or 4 flavors for that. We did chocolate chip, maple bacon bourbon, caramel apple, and oatmeal butterscotch. Those were like the first 4 that we did. And then I made the salted caramel brownie, and I started adding in new flavors and stuff. And the reason we started adding new stuff, it wasn't that we didn't think of it, but people started asking for things, like, well, I want a peanut butter cookie.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a fan of peanut butter cookies.
Oh man, I love peanut butter cookies.
So I made
Yeah.
peanut butter banana, because if I love peanut butter, and I love a peanut butter banana sandwich, and whenever I make it, I put honey on it, and I put a little bit of cinnamon. So whenever I made that into a cookie, I was like, I'm gonna make a peanut butter banana cookie.
Yeah.
Because the banana gives it kind of makes you salivate a little bit, because it's sweet and has that banana flavor. And whenever you add that with the peanut butter that's dry and just good earthiness to it, it's good. It's a good blend. But you can't have stuff, you have to balance everything. You have to have enough banana that someone can taste it, but you don't want to have too much banana that it overpowers the
Everything
peanut butter.
else, yeah.
Because you want it to be peanut butter banana. So I want peanut butter right up front, banana on the back end. Now, some cookies are jalapeno corn cookies. You get the corn, you get all the sweetness from the corn right up front, and then after you kind of chew it and you let it kind of roll around in there a little bit, you can taste all of the different spices and just think, and it makes you think of that, like a piece of lacy bread got with a Jiffy corn muffin, and then they had a baby with jalapenos in it, and it's good. Like I draw a lot on my family history and stuff.
Okay.
Like my mom, whenever I was growing up, my mom always made jalapeno cornbread. She would do cornbread sometimes, just straight cornbread, but her cornbread that had jalapenos in it was always so good. Like I would make myself
have to try that
sick.
one day. Yeah.
Oh, we got it today. we only do it on Fridays.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right.
But anyway.
So real quick before we take a short break, so like, where do you think the passion comes from? I mean, like a lot of times when people have a kid and they don't have any other way out, they have a passion to start something, but you're just having your first kid now, and you've been passionate about this for so long. So like, where does the passion come from?
Taking care of people. That's nursing. That's anything in life. I'm part of B&I, and one of my we do 60 seconds every week. One of my favorite and I don't want to do the same thing. I don't want to repeat myself constantly, because if you've heard it one time, chances are you remember it and you don't want to hear it again. I mean, anyway, one of my things was, whenever you were a kid, someone made you a sandwich. It might have been your mom, your dad, your aunt, uncle, a caregiver. Someone made you a sandwich that was so good, and whenever you made the same exact thing, it didn't taste the same. Doesn't matter, you used the same bread, the same meat, the same cheese, condiments. It didn't taste as good. Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because when they made it for you, they love you. And they put love into it. And that's what it is. You can taste the love. And I love taking care of people, letting them just enjoy something. And if it's not good and they're not going to enjoy it, I don't want to make it.
Yeah.
And that's where the passion comes from.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Have you ever tried putting hate into it and see if people see the difference?
I think that might have happened with the Levi Garrett cookie. that first sweet potato casserole, we were making pumpkin snickerdoodle.
Yeah.
That people, and it is good. It is a very good cookie. But whenever you make those, you have to drain the juice out of the pumpkin, and pumpkin smells like butt. There's no nice way to say it other than that. But the guys that work in the kitchen with me, like they've been talking about pumpkin since we quit making it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I hate pumpkin. I hate it. And I know it's coming. October's coming, and I don't even want to think about it. But you have to squeeze so much of the juice out of the pumpkin because the moisture, it's all water.
Right.
So you squeeze that out so you get the flavor without the, because you want the cookies to have a texture, not just a puff ball. Because it's more like a dumpling, really, if you don't get the moisture out of it. But anyway, I was making that, and then I was like, I want to do sweet potato casserole. And that first one I made tasted like Levi Garrett. And it wasn't that I hated it, but whenever I tasted it, I hated it. Oh, God, it was bad. But no, because I wouldn't put nothing, no hate.
I'm just joking, man.
Oh, I know. But sometimes you can get mad.
Yes, you can.
But
yeah.
All the ingredients cost money.
All right, well, cool, man. All right, well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll come right back with the lightning round. I didn't prep you for this, but it'll be fun. Again, Jonny Womack, thank you for being on the show. Big Boys Cookies. What's the best way people can reach out to you and find you?
They can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, bigboycookies.com. You can order online. You can call the store. Our number is 912-259-YUMM. Yum.
Awesome. All right, thank you guys for listening. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a second. Welcome back, Savannah, to the Savannah Business Showcase. Once again, I am here live in the studio, not the studio, his studio, and Big Boys Cookies, live on location, I guess you would say, with Jonny Womack, the owner and founder of Big Boys Cookies here in Statesboro. Thank you for being on here again.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I've had a good time.
Good. Yeah. I think this is gonna be fun too because the lightning round is fun. So what the lightning round is, it is basically a bunch of random questions. You can answer them as short or as short as you want to. Long won't be a problem. Okay. So you can answer them as short as you want to, and we'll just breeze through.
I'll try to keep it short, and we'll see how many I get through.
That works. That works. What did you want to be as a kid, and how does that relate to your current business? We talked about this a little bit.
I wanted to be a superhero when I was a kid. And
That's
now,
same here, man.
And now I'm Big Boy.
Yeah.
I fight the bland man. We've talked about doing a comic strip.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I know an artist.
Oh, we need to talk.
I know an artist who could help you out. And I know a good book for you there, for your kids, because I interviewed a guy. We'll talk after.
All right.
How have you approached failure in life?
With caution. I don't know. I really try not to fail, which it happens. And if you fall down, you get back up.
Yeah.
That's life. Because you can't stay down. You've got to stay positive. Try to keep a positive attitude. And when things come and take you out at the knees, you just got to pray. I mean, I'm a Christian. I have prayed my way out of failure, and God's blessed me, being able to do this company. I've met my wife, and she's been awesome.
Yeah.
So
nice.
having a support system in place is good. If you do fall, you need someone to catch you.
That's true. Who influenced you early in life, and who's your mentor now?
Influences early in life. Well, my dad has worked 6 days a week for the last 50 years, I guess. He's taught me a lot for work ethic. My cousin Mike, he's a nurse practitioner. He influenced me a lot with like a career path and stuff like that. Even though I changed and kind of followed my own thing. And then Warren and Gladys were my babysitters growing up, but they were more like my grandparents.
Gotcha.
I stayed with them just as much as I stayed home whenever I was real young. And it wasn't that my parents didn't want me at home.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me to come home, and I would literally have a fit. You ever had a fit where you just jerk and convulse? And they thought they were going to have to take me to the doctor because I would act out like that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I'm staying. So it's, yeah, they were amazing. And she taught me a lot about, I don't even know if this is the right word, but instinctual cooking. Because if you've ever asked an older lady, how do you make biscuits? It's going to be this. Well, you take all-purpose flour, and then you want to get some butter and some buttermilk, and you just add them together.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
well, how much? Well, you just got to mix it until it's right.
Right.
There's no measurements,
Right.
and it was hard for me to write down ingredients and write down recipes and stuff. And my wife was with me one day, and she was watching me, and I was trying to make a new recipe. And she said, "What are you doing? You're not even measuring nothing." I said, "I know what it is." So, and my mom's been, she's good. She's a good cook. And she always sort of showed me that she always does this and still does it to this day. If she has 30 people coming to the house, she's trying a new recipe. And I'm like, I would always ask her, "Why are you doing this?" "Well, I want to make something new."
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, just make something you know how to make real fast. But I don't know. There's been so many people that I can think back on and like how they just influenced my life and stuff. And now, I mean, I'm up here 24/7 almost. So my influencers now are, I've got a lot of friends that are in the food industry. My friend Chaz Ortiz, Ryan Giannoni, Brian Mayer. I'm pretty sure that's how you say his last name. They're all food truckers, and and they've helped me out a lot. Chaz, we got our food trucks around the same time, but Chaz had already been in the game for a while. Like he had a tent that he'd go and cook at, and
Gotcha.
his food is so good. But anyway, it's hard to say like, well, this person influences me, because from a business perspective, my dad and my father-in-law both have their own companies. Well, my father-in-law he's in a partnership, but they've ran it for almost 20 years now.
Gotcha.
My dad's had his own place since like the 70s. So I mean, I'm good on business, but as far as like, hey, you want to help me out with baking something new or making a new thing, I go to my wife because I trust her judgment on how good something is. If she don't pull any punches. She's not, well, that one's not your best. She'd just be like, that's not good. And that's what you need. You don't want people to coddle you in this industry. And so it's, if it ain't good, it ain't good.
Right.
That's the bottom line. So I guess and I still talk to Mike a lot. And
nice.
My dad and
Awesome.
father-in-law.
All right. That said, you have a kid coming.
Yep.
A little boy. What are you going to teach him about entrepreneurship? Have you thought about it yet?
I don't know, because my dad always told me he did not want me and my brother doing what he did, because I would say, I want to do what you do. I want to sell cars. I want to buy cars and sell cars. And he would say, no, you need to go to school. You need to get an education. That's the most important thing. He said, I work 6 days a week. And even on Sundays, whenever he was closed, he was in the yards all day. Now, I hate yard work to this day. And anyway, that was what my dad always told me. I don't know what I would say to my child. I would say you need to follow your passion. That's the most important thing, because and I don't want to say unless it's something completely ridiculous, because in this day and age, you can kind of do anything.
Yeah.
And if you're good at it, people they pay for it.
That's true.
You know, so that's important. If you can go to work and have fun, and you know, I come up here, I do whatever I want to, and I try to be lenient with people, like with their scheduling and stuff, because if they can't do it, I got it. You know, I've worked up here by myself. Now that's not fun. You know, it's not fun to run the oven, run the front, and you know, try to answer the phone and do all that. But hey, you know, if you're willing to put in the work and the effort, it's, as long as at the end of the day you can lay down and be like, oh my God, I am tired, I can't stand up, I'll be there tomorrow. You know, that's probably what I would tell him.
Tell me a story about a failure.
Well, I already told you that. Levi Garrett. No, whenever I was, I don't know, I failed out of nursing school. We had 4 quarters. I got into the 3rd quarter, and by that point, over half the class was gone. See, these nursing schools that put out, we've got a 98% pass rate. That's true for the people that passed the boards at the end of the nursing thing. But we started with 30. We had a 99% pass rate or something crazy at South. I don't even know if I can say the name, but anyway, at the tech school I went to, they had a 99% pass rate or 98%. That's for who passes the boards after they graduate from the class. Because we started with 30 and I walked with 12. You know, and that's almost every nursing program out there. You're going to start with 50, 60, it depends on the class, whatever.
Right.
You're going to graduate with about half or less. The class before me, 8 walked. Wow. So it's not easy, and Georgia's tough with their nursing stuff. But I mean, failing out, first of all, I thought I had failed my first quarter because I mean, I'll put it out there. I'm more sensitive than I let on, and I'm very like empathetic. Like I can feel what other people feel. And my first day of clinicals in my first quarter of nursing school, I was in a rehabilitation center, and there was a patient in there who had fallen, and she had to have hip surgery. She was in there like looked panicked, and she reminded me a lot of my grandmother. But she was in there. She's like, my family doesn't know I'm here. Like I haven't seen anyone. Do you know if my family knows where I'm at? Well, at first you get upset. Yeah. You're not supposed to have any. I didn't show any emotion because you can't project what you feel onto someone else. You're not supposed to in nursing and stuff. And really in life, if you feel it, that's your feeling. I don't need to feel it.
I got you. Yeah.
But I would just like that broke my heart that this sweet lady is up here and nobody even knows she's here. Where's her family? You know, I was upset, and I was talking to one of the nurses. She said her son comes to see her every day, but she didn't know. And see, stuff like that was hard. Yeah. Between that and some of the smells that I encountered that day, I got on the elevator to go downstairs, and I was just sick. I was like, I have made a terrible mistake. Yeah. This is not for me. But then, you know, I prayed about it, and I was like, you know what? This is for me. I can do this. And I went up the next day, took care of that lady. She was just as happy as she could be. And, you know, and I told her, I said, I knew then that her family did know where she was, and that they would be there. And, you know, and it's having the right information makes all the difference in the world. And it's just like that with everything. If you know what's going to happen, or you know a certain situation is coming, you can anticipate how to react. So failure is a good thing because it helps you to learn to anticipate the next step.
So what advice would you have for a person, an entrepreneur who's going through the same failure you went through, where they are trying a certain path in life, they fail at it? Like what advice do you have for them?
Pray. Prayer can get you through a lot. Having something to believe in, you know, having faith
Mm-hmm.
that it will work.
Mm.
You know, that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't start this company. I didn't do the things that I've done to have people come up to me like, oh my God, I can't believe you did it. You know, that's awesome. You're like an inspiration. And people have done that. And I'm not saying that to be like, I'm an inspiration. You know, it's not like that, because I didn't want to be somebody's inspiration, because if I fail, then that inspiration's done failed.
Right.
You know, and I did it because I prayed about it. Me and my wife talked about it. We prayed about it together. We decided together that this was the right move. And we think that as long as we do our best, we put out our best product. Because whenever I tell you she don't pull any punches, if she's here, she's a full-time nurse.
Okay.
But she comes up here and works 1 or 2 days a week. She does all the finance stuff and works with our social media person. And if she sees a cookie out there, she'll just like take it out and set it to the side. And she'll say, "What is this?" I was like, "What? There ain't nothing wrong with that. This chocolate chip has 1 chocolate chip in here." And I'll tell you, that is a no seller. Yeah. But we have one customer that comes in about once a month, once every other month, and she'll order an entire a small batch of cookies that have 1/3 of the chocolate chips in a regular batch, because she does not like chocolate chips. I said, so what we do, she usually comes in like once a week, and I was like, you know what? Bag that one up and we'll save it for her. You know, and if she doesn't come in, I've got like a little thing back there that I tell the employees, you know, you guys take these home. Because we do sell our cookies from the day before. We sell them at half price. And if they don't sell, I give them to the employees because they're fine. Yeah. It's just they start firming up a little bit.
Got you. Okay. All right. Well, we're running out of time, so I ask 2 more questions that I ask everyone. You've given a lot of information, answered a lot of questions I had anyway. So there's a concept called Pareto's Principle, the 80-20 rule. So it says basically 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. So like in your business at Big Boys Cookies, like what are the 20% of things you do, the small amount of things you do that get you the most results?
I don't know about that. Just being innovative, I guess, trying to make something new. I can't think of like a small thing that I do that just, oh yeah, that's great. Talking to people is a big thing. People want to be heard. And they want to, you know, just care about somebody. And that goes back to all of it. You know, you want to make sure that people know that you've heard what they said. Yeah. And talking to the customers. And my wife is way better at it than I am. Because usually, as you can see, I chase rabbits. I am long-winded. And in my mind, it's just going click, 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 click. And I can slow it down and talk to people. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes I can't commit as much of especially if I'm at work. If I'm at work, I can't feel like I'm committing my entire attention to that, because I'm listening. The whole time we've been in here, I've been listening to see if she turns the oven back on, to see if the oven's going off, to see what's going on. I've been listening to the front and watching out of my peripherals, who's sitting out there, who's coming in, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's talking to somebody. Yeah. And we do it at events when we can. But like stuff like this, like I love talking I like talking to people. I'm a talker. You know?
And clearly I do too. I like, you know, so I get that. Yeah. I definitely get that.
I would probably say that if you can do that, that'll help. People like a story. And that's a proven thing. So. Yep.
All right. Last question. If you had a superpower or ability, what would you choose and why?
Oh, man, that's such a good one. You just get one?
You just get one, yeah. You can't be Superman. Superman's the most boring comic book person to write about. He has everything.
He does. And then he does, but he also has like the biggest weakness.
Kryptonite, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I saw a thing that said they just made that up on the spot. They were like, wait, this guy's the most powerful thing ever. how do you beat him? I don't know, just something will kill him. It's just like, oh, that's so bad. The Incredible Hulk was my favorite growing up.
Okay.
Which now that I've gotten older, you understand the conflict and stuff a lot more, where as a child you just wanted to get mad and break stuff, even though whenever you broke it you didn't get a new one.
Right.
So don't be dumb. And yeah, I guess I could go with that.
You go with the Hulk.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Professor X is,
Yeah.
because that's
good too.
yeah, telekinesis. And was he telekinetic too?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
A little bit.
I have.
He can read minds and control people, so I don't know technically what that is, but
That's telepathy.
yeah.
Jean Grey was the telekinetic. That's where they could
Okay.
move stuff across the room.
Okay.
I don't think Professor X had that. He did have that sweet hover chair though.
That was nice. It was the spinners on it, the little X spinners.
No, the cartoon.
That's what I'm saying. On the wheels.
No, it floated in the cartoons.
Oh,
You remember?
That's right.
He had the little yellow.
That's right.
The little hover. It was the real hover round.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, big boy, Johnny. Thank you for being on the show, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I made it. I'm glad I got to see your operation. It's amazing here. Everybody out there should definitely come check it out when you're coming to Georgia Southern or you're just in Statesboro. So once again, how can people find you, get in contact with you?
We are at 441 South Main Street in Statesboro. They can find us on Facebook, Big Boy Cookies, on Instagram, Big Boy Cookies. We have a Snapchat. I don't know who runs it, but it's different people, different days. It's whoever finds the phone and plays with it. And they can also reach us on our website at bigboycookies.com, or our phone number at the store is 912-259-YUMM.
Perfect. All right. And as always, guys out there listening, thank you for listening again this week. Go out there, do something impactful, be the change you want to see in the world. Tell somebody you love them, and in order to make a change in the world, you don't have to do something big or be a millionaire. You can go down the road and help somebody that's close to you. So thank you guys for listening. This is Taraz, your host of the Savannah Business Showcase, and we'll see you next week.